Hello, and welcome. The following tutorial will explain about the spatial model reports. The Reports screen is available from the Spatial Model screen, at the Alarms and Reports tab. The two first radio buttons show current alarms and historical alarms. They are explained in a different tutorial, while the current tutorial focuses on reports only. To activate the reports, please select the third radio button. This option will activate the Reports GUI. Reports can be filtered using several methods. The first is by dates. Other options are clusters, measurements, or specific sites. The dates checkboxes must be checked, and the dates selection controls must be set to valid dates to generate a report. Afterward, select the wanted report from the drop-down list and select the desired filters below if it exists. Clusters, measurements, or source and destination station can filter the reports. Report number 1 shows the object parameters configuration. On the top of the report, any report, are noted the relevant dates. This report indicates the date of printing. The columns in the report show the object number and type, the stations for each object and their measurements, the flow regime and the delay time. Report number 2 shows the learning and validation dates, analysis date, and range reduction for each pair within the selected filters. The learning date is when the object has performed learning for the last time. The validations date is when the object was simulated using the simulator. The analysis date is the last time when the object was simulated using the what-if analysis. Range reduction is the ratio between the spatial limits and user limits. The smaller is this ratio, the more efficient is the object, since it gains more time between the spatial limits alert and the user limits alert. Report number 3 is a first office set of reports which give details about the total count of events for a given period. This report shows close events, open events, and total events for the entire spatial model list. On the top of the report listed the date of generation, the period to which the report refers to. The start and end dates point are based on the date set in the report's main screen. The report contains 3 rows: closed events, open events, and a total of events, which is the summary of the first 2 rows. Open events are events without a close date. The table includes 5 columns. The first one is counting limits violations. This column is the total amount of events that occurred during the given period for which spatial limits were violated based on the actual measurement of selected objects. The second column, which is poor prediction, shows these given counts of events and how many were included in a poor prediction category. Poor prediction means that the predicted value of the spatial model was too far from the actual value. The next column is for poor spatial limits. Poor spatial limits are situations in which the spatial limits are too wide and too close to the statistical limits or users' limits. The next one is no data events. And the last column count for how many events out of the total events also triplet T violation were included. For an explanation about triplets events, see the triplets tutorial. Report number 4 is much like report number 3, with a very slight difference. Report number 4 gives the counting of an event with similar columns like report number 3, but with counting based on pairs. This means that any pair currently included in the selected filter is listed in this report. Please note that the total amount of events listed in the report should be exactly the total amount of events, as in report 3. This is true only if the same period for reporting was selected. Report number 5 is also like the 2 previous reports. This report lists the same events with the same setup details column by SPA clusters. SPA clusters are the internal partition of the spatial model into subgroups according to user definition. The next report is report number 6. This report also lists the event for a given time period. However, these events are listed according to the type of measurements. Then the last report, which is similar to the previous 3 reports, is report number 7. Report number 7 lists the same events with the same column setup according to station types. Station types is a distinction between the functionality of stations in the network. This observes stations based on their functionality, for example, simple monitoring station versus pumping, external source or battery-based station. Report number 8 refers to a combination of alarms as they occur in the various counting. In the upper side of the report, a table is shown, which details each column's conditions. The table below lists for a given period. Each object counts according to the 6 columns, as listed in the upper table. Report number 9 is a time distribution report. It shows for a length of time the counting of events. The length of time is grouped into an additional 10 minutes per group. The counter in each group shows how many events lasted as the given period. Report 10 is the Advanced Parameters report. This report shows the parameter for each object as they are set in the database. And last but not least, the Detailed Events List report, which lists all events with their parameters. Thank you. We hope this tutorial was helpful and clear. For more details, please go to our website.